Welcome everyone back to Nerd TV for another full throttle sim racing Mach-1 Performance Cup Series race. Race number 10 of 13 for the 2023 B season. This time coming at you live from the simulated Michigan International Speedway, where these guys are going to take 125 laps around this 2-mile circuit. On the screen right now is your track info. Right now, 113 degrees on the track surface, 76 in the skies. So big difference there. Unlike the realistic Michigan weather, which has been rainy and cloudy and complete opposite here. But we're in the simulated world, so who cares, right? 60% humidity, partly cloudy, and 5% mile an hour wind, or 5 mile an hour winds. Which, at a 2-mile track running upward of 200 miles an hour, that might play a favor or against someone, depending on where it's coming from on the track at that time. But either way, we're looking for an exciting race here tonight. And, if it do just like the real guys did it today and yesterday, it should be a lot of fun, especially this past Wednesday, too, from the Truck Series. It presented awesome racing. But nonetheless, my name is Jeremy Stanley, and over to my right-hand side, just now popping on camera, Mr. Jason Rockefeller. How you doing?
Doing good, man. I'm really looking forward to seeing how these cars run here tonight. We had one hell of a show a week ago on Wednesday for the Truck Series, and it was really, really fun. Hey, what's up, Walt? Good to see you, buddy. But we had one hell of a race last Wednesday with the Truck Series. I mean, everything from crazy racing to a crazy winner to, all the above, And the same could be said tonight. Obviously, the Cup car handles a little bit differently than the truck, for, aerodynamic reasons and whatnot, with the 5 gears, the rear downforce with the diffuser, rack and pinion steering, the independent rear suspension and whatnot. It's going to be interesting to see these cars. The draft will definitely play a factor, just like Wednesday night. Last week, but I don't think it's nearly going to be as heavy. You saw it really heavily used both in yesterday and today's continued Cup Series race. I think we're in for a really good show here tonight for sure.
Yeah, the draft plays such a huge effect in the next-gen cars today and yesterday, and position was king. It was hard to pass because of the drag and whatnot, getting side by side. Just really slows you down, so you just have to go for it, which we saw a lot of guys making some contact or at least getting really close and getting some in tight spots. So, and it could be something that we'll have to look for here tonight for the 125 laps. But Walter White, a.k.a. Ballistic, a.k.a. Dustin, a.k.a. our producer, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good. And you know what? Because I don't get a chance to do this because I'm not in the booth, just because these two guys have it nailed down. But I'm actually going to sit here and say, Doyle Lawrence, what's going on, buddy? I don't get a chance to shout you out. He's out there saying hello, nerds already. Says, what's up, Jeremy, Jason, and Dustin? So, again, glad to see you out in full force again. It's Michigan. As far as the 2-mile tracks, I mean, this is comparable and close in configuration to, well, what is going to be the former Auto Club, seeing as they're tearing that down and reconfiguring that whole thing. This is probably by far my favorite. Track always poses great racing. Multi-groove, multi-line. You can run 3 wide here comfortably as long as the drivers can hold the line. If you are very trustworthy, you can do 4, especially down that very long curve front stretch and the back stretch. So you're going to see these drivers span out through the corners. It's going to be some damn good racing.
Yeah, I can't wait for it. I'm hoping that we get a lot of good side by side, but if the draft happens and they all run single file, that's okay by me too. Got to play the strategy game, which some diehard fans love the strategy over to the continued side by side slide jobs and whatnot. So, anything's possible here tonight. The weather's great for it though, so definitely be looking forward to this one. Jason, what's your thoughts before this thing goes green flag?
Hot. That's my key right now. Look at that track temp right there. I know we all see it. 114 degrees around that right now. And boy, if you thought the Cup cars were a handful, both in yesterday's real Cup race and then continued into today, these guys are in for a handful tonight. We saw some hot track temperatures last week on Wednesday night for the Martin Sports Truck Series. Sure enough, we're seeing the exact same thing here tonight, but a little bit worse, per se. So we'll have to see if this track does, in fact, cool down over the duration of time throughout the session. But I mean, I don't know. There's a few guys in here who are really surprising me with their speed so far. A few guys, obviously, and we all know who that is, who's not surprising me at all because he's here every week. But drivers like Rob Tracy, Michael Blackner, Colby Mice, all inside the top 10 right now in practice as it comes to an ending. Colby Mice was the fastest in practice. We could see a surprise winner tonight. So we'll have to keep an eye on that for sure. There's going to be a lot of heavy hitters, a lot of comers and goers here tonight.
Yeah, 100% there. And it's time to focus on the qualifying. Time to get our faces off your guys' screen and focus in on the number 9 car of Colby Mice. Once ever he jumps on track, we're going to see what he has in store for this qualifying lap. By the way, we did not get to it. Newcomer to this series, Ben Tracy, part of Rob Tracy Racing. So the Tracy brothers, or I'm not sure how the relation works, but we got a second member for Rob Tracy Racing. But here's Colby Mice. We're on it here, and that number 9 Ford Mustang with the Jeff Gordon Exaltus scheme, which, by the way, I don't care. It's on a Ford. People say it belongs on a Chevy. I don't care. As long as it looks good, it looks good. It works for me. And, I actually still enjoy Flames. I know a lot of people hate on Flames. They're overdone, in the early 2000s. But I don't know how you feel, Jason, but I'm enjoying the Flames.
Yeah, this is a throwback to the 2020 William Byron Daytona 500 scheme that he ran. I was at that race, and boy, oh boy, did he plow the inside safer barrier down the back straightaway in that thing. And this thing is so beautiful because it really is like a reverse flame Jeff Gordon car, if you really want to put it that way. Obviously, this car has been run for many, many years, Exalta, the rebranded DuPont. But nevertheless, this car always looks good no matter what you put it on. I think you can put it on a Toyota, you can put it on a Lamborghini. It doesn't matter, man. This scheme just always looks good. Always brings me back to my childhood, especially putting flames down the side of your cars, back on like NASCAR 2005 Chase for the Cup in the paint booth, or NASCAR 2003. There's just so many different variations of flames over the years, so it's always good to see this scheme always on track.
I used to do my skins on NR99, and I would, in the paint booth, just click pixel by pixel by pixel, the numbers, contigs, even flames. So I've been drawing them for a long time. But get to the first lap here of the number 9 machine. Colby Mice hits a 38.8, which is way slower than his practice time, but I'm sure that's a warm-up lap, and he chooses to run the middle of the track in 1 and 2.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You just want to make sure that you hit all your marks here at Michigan. This is one of the toughest places to qualify. I still will sit here and say that the Xfinity car is probably the hardest thing to qualify here. But, I mean, the Cup car is still equally almost, if not just a little bit less than the Xfinity car. So these guys are going to have their handful here tonight. Aero is going to play a big factor. Guys getting loose, not going to be able to stick the bottom like we saw here today. We'll have to see. But, here's a good thing to see right now. Heartbreak Kid, Robert Malikian, top of the board right now with a 38.278 over Chad Lang's 38.282. So drivers are pretty close on speed there in the top 2. Good to see Robert right now up at the top of the board as Brian Dublé looks to come and take his lap here this time by.
Yeah, big miss there from Colby Mice right now, sitting 14th on the board. I'm not sure if he got his lap virtue of draft or whatnot. That's a 0.6 of a second difference, and you're supposed to be in your faster qual trim. So I'm not sure exactly what happened there, but yeah, we're on the 37 here as he looks like he has completed his laps there, so he's good. Now we're on board, or at least focusing on the 57 here, Joshua Johnson, who looks like he is putting his car to a rest as well. Currently sitting 12th on the boards at a 38.230.
Yeah, there's just so many guys here tonight. There's so many guys here tonight who just really have chances, obviously, to really come out and shine. We're seeing driver, Ben Tracy, new to the series too. Chad Lang, a driver who could easily come through and probably pick up a win. I mean, remember, this is going to be a drafting type race, obviously not like a super speedway, but Chad Lang, season A winner back at Talladega, so he knows how to work his way around the draft. P3 so far in qualifying. Stephen Hollingsworth, Lane Allen, Wayne Grossi, drivers who finished inside the top 10 last week at Richmond. They're looking to continue their strong runs. And Richie Coy, currently sitting P9. He did not finish very well, Jeremy, on Wednesday in the Truck Series. In fact, he got wrecked. And, man, I think that's the worst we've ever seen Richie Coy do and perform in a race. And hopefully that's not going to be the same for your points leader here tonight.
Yeah, it's very few far between, and he's got a battle with Cody, right? So let's see if he can recover and do really well here this evening. Um, Back to the chats again. Doyle wishes they let us paint the war wagon. I agree. And then Colby Mice actually came on the chat there. Appreciate you jumping in there, man, saying that he just got tied off at turn 4, had to give up all the speed that he had earned on that second lap. So when you, especially if you're doing on exit of 4 on turn or lap 1 rather, you're going to lose the straightaway speed entering your second lap, and you're going to scrub your first lap. So it's a double whammy there. If you're tied on turn 4 on lap 1, your whole session's done essentially. But race has kicked over. Joshua Johnson, I think for the first time this season, is going to grab pole for that 57, and then Robert Maliki in P2. So a couple of newcomers, at least when it considers the front row of the Mach-1 Performance Cup Series. We're going to go down that official starting order here. Joshua Johnson does start P1. Robert Maliki in second place. Chad Lang is going to be starting in third. Jeff Chandler is going to be starting in fourth. Newcomer Ben Tracy for RTR is going to be in fifth place. Jimmy Knopp in sixth. I know, right? No kidding. Number 7, Brody Hanna. Welcome back. He's got that wheel hooked up, repaired, and ready to go. So P7 is a nice little starting return spot there for him. Sherwood Williford in 8th place. Richie Coy in 9th. And Robert Tracy rounds out tonight's starting top 10.
Top 20 tonight, Brian Dublé starts 11th there in that 37 machine. Starting 12th, Stephen Hollingsworth in the 25. 13th, Lane Allen trying to continue a top 10 run. Same thing with Wayne Grassi starting 14th tonight. Colby Mice, fastest in practice, starts 15th tonight on the grid. Ryan Hedrick, nice top 10 run for him. 16th here starting at Michigan. Kyle Milliken starts 17th in the 42. Tyler Brown coming over here trying some Mach-1 performance action in that Toyota 00 machine. He'll start 18th. Fury Motorsports, Tony Solari comes home 19th in qualifying. And then his teammate Michael Blackner will round out your top 20.
21st place, you'll find the 67 of James Wallace. 22nd, Ryan Chapman. 23rd place, James Torrey. 24th, Colton Gum. 25th, Brandon Elder. 26th, Alan Duranco. 27th, Steve Loomis. And the 28th place car tonight, sorted by the iRacing, iRating there, Alan Crowell in 28th place. And top 20 did qualify. The back 8 did not, so they're sorted just by iRating. That's natural for a lot of these guys in the back who like to start in the back. And I'm surprised Brandon Elder did that. He's been really good at qualifying recently. Top 5s consistently, but he's going to play the hard game and try to come back from 25th.
Yeah, we'll have to see. There's a lot of guys in the back of this field who are usually very, very strong. Brandon Elder obviously being one of them. Tony Solari, Tyler Brown, usually a driver who can kind of pick his way up through the field little by little and then somehow, some way is there at the end. We'll have to see how Colby Mice does from the near middle of the pack there, starting 13th. A lot of guys here all over the place. And like I said earlier, we can see a repeat winner tonight. And I want to point out, too, one driver who is not here, I believe, was penalized after the incident in Richmond last week. I believe the 44 of Chris Beck is not here tonight, if I am correct.
That is 100% correct. Yeah, incident turn 1. Just had some not so accidental collision and, parked him for a week for that. The admins here especially do not like intentional wrecking whatsoever. It was definitely deemed so from the very beginning. We called it in the booth last week. It was pretty apparent there. So rightfully so, parked 1 week on probation for the next 3, I do believe, and we'll see him return next week. But we got a quarter of a lap left here, Jason, before we're going to kick it off. Green flag for 125 laps. Tonight's stage break, got it scheduled at lap 40. So if it stays green the whole way, that's exactly about 1 fuel run around this facility. Depending if you, and we're actually going to wave it. We're going to go green next time by, letting a couple cars catch up.
Yeah, and that's just unfortunately something that the admins have to do. But that's the great thing about iRacing. You can, as an admin, change different things within the session. You could kick drivers if somebody's doing something that you don't like. You can obviously wave around somebody if they need to, if the service just happens to have a little bit of a glitch in the system. That's the great thing that the admin, is able to do, obviously being the host of a session. And here you go, looking at a couple of drivers tonight, presented by iRock 93.5 with the onboard cameras. Richie Coy locked in, ready to go as always. Then Ryan Chapman trying to redeem himself after last week's incident with Chris Beck. he'll be starting towards the mid-pack here, a little bit further back. And I want to say, if I had to pick a winner tonight, Jeremy, I'm going to go out on a limb. And I think in his first official start back since his incident with his wheel, I think Brody Hanna goes to victory lane.
That is a bold choice. We haven't really seen him much at all for 2023B. I think he started maybe the first 3 races, if I remember that correct, maybe 4, something like that. And then, yeah, he's been parked since then due to some wheel difficulties. He's got that part changed. I think he feels pretty confident in that car. It's not honestly a bad pick. He knows tire wear is his #1 kryptonite. So as long as he can figure out how to conserve tires around this really fast 2-mile track, you might have a good solid pick there. I'm looking somewhere in this top 5. Jeff Chandler is going to be the obvious pick, but I'm thinking 22. If we're going to go on a limb here, I'm going to think the 22 is going to pick up a win here tonight for sure, but we'll see how that plays out. Pace car is down. 125 laps are waiting for these 28 drivers to get her done. Just waiting for the green flag to fly in. There it is. The start for the race is underway.
And Josh Johnson gets a little bit of a great push there from the outside with the black and silver, giving it Dale Earnhardt vibes. He gets a big push from the black and silver Abruzzi Racewear Chevy Camaro of Jeff Chandler. Bottles it down into turn number 1. Everybody kind of fans out off turn number 2. Josh Johnson will have the lead here off turn number 2 with the inside being led by Ben Tracy. He'll jump in line. And then Brody Hanna stuck on the bottom right now as they head into 3.
Almost 3 wide there, about 7th, 8th, 9th place. They go back to 2 wide. Joshua Johnson, the 57, outside wall, turn 3, already making contact. He's going to drop from 1st to 3rd, now to 4th, as newcomer Ben Tracy does take that position away from him. But the car looks okay, just, entered a little bit too high. Early mistake, though. Get those out of the way when you can.
Yeah, definitely better to do it now rather than do it later on in this race here, Jeremy. Josh Johnson has a very quick car, had one in practice and qualifying, so he wants to keep the tires on it, wants to do a good job. So we'll have to keep an eye on him. You look right here. Here's a battle going on for the 6th spot. Richie Coy down to the inside of last week's winner, Jamie Knopp, who was super, super fast last weekend. Daniel Simmons, believe that is his teammate, finished second to him last weekend. So Jamie looking to try to go back-to-back this weekend, about to come into the top 5 as he's in between the 2 Fury Motorsports drivers down into 1.
Going to 31, almost dead heat, entering the corner, but that really fast Jeff Chandler, we know he's got some early speed. He's going to clear that for a Chad Lang. Gains place number 1. That's the 3rd different leader already as he comes to the line for lap 4. Everyone's single file until about 7th or 8th place. Once again, you're seeing 19 of Richie Coy trying to drive under the 25 of Hollingsworth. And then a couple more guys are almost 3 wide here through turn 3. And some contact with the 19 of Richie Coy and the 25. They almost wreck it, but they keep going straight.
Man, that could have been a big moment right there. You saw Coy in that Advanced Auto Parts Ford Mustang get really loose. Kind of started to wash up the track. Looked like the 25 of Hollingsworth kind of pinched him into the corner. I think that both of them were trying to fight for the same piece of real estate, wanted to run a similar, if not identical, line. And unfortunately, Richie Coy just kind of washed up, thankfully was able to save it, and heads up driving to everybody behind them like Dublé, the 07 of Tracy, Brown. Good job by those drivers to save it off turn 4, not collect anybody or start a wreck.
Yeah, that was a great job for sure. And that's second week in a row we've seen the 19 make a mistake. This time early. Hopefully we don't see more of those as this race progresses on. But that kind of separated this pack a little bit. Got about 6 or 7 cars in the top part of the field, all single file. And then there's just a little bit of gap, but the draft will bring them back, no problem whatsoever. Led by the 33 of Sherwood Williford, who currently resides in 8th place at this time. They all go single file in pack number 2, except for the 37 and the 07 here as they go through turn 3 here.
And Sherwood's looking to have a really good run here tonight in that 33 machine. Finished 4th last week. I remember coming on to Nerd TV just a handful of months ago. And the first race I ever called, Jeremy, was this Mach-1 Performance Cup Series with you, with Dustin producing as always. And Sherwood Williford was one of those guys up in the top 3, one of the fastest drivers. And it's like ever since that race, I never really saw Sherwood up at the front as much as I was used to, from that Phoenix race. Saw him a couple times here and there, but then all of a sudden he just kind of fell off. So coming off of a 4th place run at Richmond last week was definitely something that he needed, something that he was looking forward to, probably take it as a win in his book. And to be running up at the front here this early so far, knowing that he had good qualifying speed, and oh, not to mention the fact last time around, fastest lap time on the racetrack, 38.653. If you're Sherwood Williford, you got to have some kind of boosted confidence heading in here tonight.
Yeah, he at times he has a lot of speed, and it happens, for a good chunk of the season. Right now, he just had a really mediocre mid-season, really. I mean, he's been there a couple times, but he hasn't been in there in the top 5 competing each week in and week out. So hopefully we see that turnaround here tonight. We see the 57 on the outside of newcomer 63, Ben Tracy, as he's going to make that pass, which this track is known for its spreading out. So the bottom lane is a little flatter, but you can make some moves if you need to. Second and third groove are pretty good, but that fourth groove, once it gets hooked up here, which we're probably going to see in the next 15 laps or so, better watch out for that, because that's where all the speed might be.
And the one thing, too, we got to look at is if we do, in fact, get a super long green flag run, Jeremy, is will this field kind of spread out? I mean, you see up at the front, they're kind of really all single file together like they were on the restarts in yesterday and today's continued cup race. And Kyle Milliken shoved out a line there. Don't know what happened, if there was a little bit of contact between him and Ryan Chapman or what. But that car almost darted to the inside below the apron. And that was actually Alan Duranka, in the number 2 machine right behind him. Just him and Ryan Chapman have somewhat similar paint schemes, different colors. We'll get used to it. But, man, good save by Kyle Milliken. But back to the point, Jeremy, those guys up in the front of the field, who's going to start to pull away from the drivers? Who's going to start to maybe work in a different line like Josh Johnson has been doing so far all race long? We'll have to see and keep an eye on that here as this green flag run progresses.
Yeah, we'll have to watch out there as Joshua Johnson just slowly starting to get back to these guys. He started first place. He fell back to 5th on that lap 1 wall glue incident, and now being back to 3rd and slowly creeping up on the 4 and the 31. That car might be there. This team, Boomerang Motorsports, is good on the long run. So, if he's fast on the short run, watch out for him on the long run. He will be there. But we're looking on the back end here of 31 of Jeff Chandler. Looking at that new skid in there from Chad Lang, Busch Beer, Chevrolet Camaro. A little bit of a throwback-isk style scheme. I really enjoy that one right now. But the 57, Joshua Johnson, is all over the 4 now.
Yeah, and I do like to see that Busch scheme in the back right there. Right behind your leader, Jeff Chandler. I do love being ice cold Busch beer after a hot day. Always a refreshing time. Also, the official beer and partner of NASCAR being Busch Light. So always cool to see the Busch schemes all over the racetrack. But a lot of good battling so far throughout this field. Nobody can really get away from one another. You see Rob Tracy. He'll head down to the inside of Ryan Hedrick, one of the top 10 drivers from last week. Kind of tries to throw a slider right up in front of the 47. Just clears him. Hedrick gives him a little bit of a bump down the back straightaway. And those two are going to duke it out for position, while in front of them, you have Hollingsworth versus Coy and Dublé versus Williford here off turn number 4.
I'm almost not surprised anymore, Jason, that every single week now I feel like the top 10 has produced some of the best racing all season long. And right here, we are 12 laps into this event now, and top 10 are just side by side while the leaders are single filed out. Just really putting on an awesome show for you guys. These guys are not giving up an inch. They are pushing each other tighter on this corner. Is the 19 of Richie Coy gets 25 way out of shape. Hollingsworth, I don't know if that was part of that or not, but gets really out of shape early on. He's going to drop back and lose 6 or 7 positions on that, and a bunch of other seconds now to be gained back.
I tell you what, if there ain't a Martin Sports Nerditudes Get a Grip Lucky Dog Award, take the lucky dog part, throw it out the window. That was the save of the night so far. Look at this. I almost thought, we'll have to take another look at this, but man, what a hell of a job by Stephen Hollingsworth. Yeah, it's a shame to lose 3 positions so far from where he started, but we'll take another look at it here. And off turn before, right here, watch this, right there, right when that car just stepped out, I thought he was going to overcorrect it and wreck that little pack right there. So heads up driving by the 25 to not lose it. Watch this car snap. Look at that. That's a 90-degree turn. That's crazy.
Yeah, 3 wiggles out of the thing. Good thing there's a huge amount of asphalt before you get to the wall down that back straight. We give him all the time in the world to get that thing recouped. And he went over halfway down that apron, too. So he utilized almost every single inch of that real estate to get that car back into shape. But we stay green here. Looks like you got some 3-wide action. Still about 10th place right now, 47 on the top. That's the number 9 and the 7. They go back to 2 wide. That's right in the middle there with a 33 as well of Williford, 19 Richie Coy. They're all still trying to battle to see who's going to be in this top 10.
And this is just going to kind of drift them away from that lead pack with Jeff Chandler all the way back to about Chad Lang, who have kind of broken away, or maybe I should say Brody Hanna. They've kind of broke away from this little pack. So 3 wide racing is not going to help them, but you see Coy trying everything he can do to clear Mice, to clear Grassi here down into 1. And Mice is going to give up that position while Coy fights with Grassi down into turn number 1. Lots of great battling all over this racetrack. Absolutely love the racing that Michigan puts on. And whoa, Ryan Hedrick got really loose there off turn number 2. He was able to save it. A lot of guys starting to kind of feel out how their cars are handling here, Jeremy. In the middle of these runs, you see drivers like Ryan Hedrick. You see drivers like Sherwood Williford and also Richie Coy. They've lost 3 spots from where they started, that being Richie Coy. Handling is starting to become a thing here as we're 16 laps into this event.
And speaking of handling, as those guys in the back kind of sort of simmer down a little bit, the race for the top 5 is picked up as Chad Lang is starting to fall back as the long run is starting to show its face. The 57 was also passed by the 84 Jamie Knopp, so he is continuing to progress through this field now in 2nd place, and he's about a half a second away from that 31 machine of Jeff Chandler.
Yeah, he's getting there right now. Jamie Knopf +4 from where he started. He's trying to run down the guy who basically, we got a caution. First one of the night. I believe it's a few drivers involved. Seeing Ryan Chapman fall back. I'm seeing Alan Duranko fall back. Could have been a wreck right there heading into turn number 3 possibly. We'll have to take a look, Jeremy.
This is big. This all started with the 33 and the 07 down the back straightaway here. Sherwood Wilford just straight up gets hooked by the 07 of Robert Tracy before they get to turn 3. And then I'm not sure exactly what happened. Someone re-merged on the track, and then it just brought in way more cars in this wreck.
Right there, just from the replay, it looked like Sherwood Williford, or whoever it was, I believe it was Williford, was coming down the racetrack, and then Chapman thought he was going to come further down than he thought, and then Chapman just got into the grass, and unfortunately, you see right there, hard hit for James Wallace right into the side of Ryan Chapman. You see Duranko coming back through there. There's another driver as well. I believe that's James Torrey. A few other drivers, Lane Allen as well. Maybe get another look on this right here, starting with the 33 machine possibly. But unfortunately, just a lot of guys know where to go. And there you see Ryan Chapman going below. We're going to rewind it back here. Oh, perfect. Right there, you're going to see the 07 machine, Rob Tracy, inside of Sherwood Williford and down this back straightaway. It's looking like the 07. I already have a feeling I think where this is going to go. It looks like the 07 is going to kind of come up, try to side draft, and just makes contact. Little too hard on the side draft, gets right into the 33's door, sends Williford a little bit around, back up the track, hard impact with the right front, and down the track. Chapman thinks he's going to come down further, gets into the grass, ultimately loses the car. Duranko, hard impact into the 33, and then you know the rest of the story from there.
Yeah, Steve Loomis in 17 made contact with Alan Duranko as he was trying to get Woad up there, and that sent him into the right side of the 33 Sherwood Williford. We're going to go back one more angle here, and yeah, just got hooked. We're going to right now the onboard of the number 9 car, Colby Mice, and he's going to see the incident happen there right in front, and just, woo, that was so close.
Yeah, that was really close right there for a lot of drivers. In fact, what are you going to do? But unfortunately, just a really awkward spot on the racetrack to have an incident heading into turn 3 like that. No harm, no foul, really. It's just Rob Tracy really just trying to side draft a little too hard right there, unfortunately, and then just hooked the 33 right there heading down to turn number 3. Had a few drivers pit, though, under this caution flag, and it looks like everybody but the drivers right now listed in the top 3 did pit. Believe they did take a full set of Goodyear Eagles, some Sunoco racing fuel. So Milliken, Ben Tracy, and Jamie Knopf all stayed out right now. We'll have to see with this tire wear, what will they do? Will they fall back as much? Will they be able to maintain their positions? Will they fight really hard for the lead? We'll have to see here as they take the one to go to green. This could get interesting.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting right here. The tire wear on these next gen cars we know isn't as detrimental as it was in the Gen 6, Gen 5, Gen 4, so on and so forth. And this is shortcut in this stage break, right? It's a 40 lap stage. We're gonna be restarting on lap 20, so almost a halfway split in this run. So the tire wear isn't huge, and they know they have three sets of tires, or actually four sets of tires behind the wall. Uh, if you think you're going to have a little more cautions, which, the average of cautions this season versus last and has been a little bit higher, so you want to conserve a little bit more. So that's probably why a lot of these guys said, hey, you know what? It's not worth it to put tires on these cars for just 20 laps. That's just wasting a set of tires at that point. They're all going to get their, Goodyear Eagles, at least the rest of them, at stage break, and then they'll be set up for that long run for stage two. But I think that's a great call just to keep them out. Tire wear is not significant. Don't need to do it. And, this will pay off here. But we're going to see what 20-lap old tires now look like on a restart. Will there be tire spin? Who knows? We got Ben Tracy. We don't know anything about him. Let's see how he restarts with Jamie Knopp here on the inside, who was elected to choose the bottom. All the speed getting to turn one is preferred on the bottom here. We're going back to green flag racing here. Jamie Knopp leads Ben Tracy by a nose, getting to the line. And as they head off into turn one.
Yeah, we're going to have to see right here off turn number 2. This is going to be the key. We haven't really seen it on a restart. Will the outside be the prevailed line, or will it be the bottom? But right now, looking like Jamie Knopp is going to easily be able to clear Ben Tracy down the back straightaway. Tracy will have a good run, not get there just yet. Josh Johnson shoots out of line, 3 wide. He made it back to 2 now as he battles with Lane Allen down into turns 3 and 4.
Getting pretty dicey here on this top 10. Everyone still is 2 by 2 by 2, almost 3 wide, about 10th place or so. They go actually 3 wide now on the front stretch, almost 4 wide. Got the 14 Lane Allen on the top. Jeff Chandler, second highest, and then got the 47 of Hedrick there, the number 7 of Wayne Grossi. They go back to 2 wide momentarily. Doyle Lawrence, Jeff Chandler, by the way, took 4 sets of tires on that stop there. But they are still, more contact between the 23. The 23 is roughhousing Stephen Hollingsworth down the backstretch.
Boy, this might not end very well right now. The 2 guys inside the 20s with their door number battle. Oh, and Brian Dublé into the outside wall there in turn number 3. No harm, no foul. Everybody gets through. No contact made from everybody else. But, man, down the back straightaway, it looked like the 25 of Stephen Hollingsworth and the 23 of Brody Hanna almost had a near situation to what happened to Hollingsworth just a handful of laps ago off, too.
There's still remaining 3 wide, multiple different sections of this track. 3 wide. You see the contact here, and then the 23 just turned the wheel left.
That's
after the first one. You saw it do it the second time there. 25 came on the chat with a question mark because he was kind of curious as to what that entailed there. But then you see the 37 of Brian Dublé as well. So, it's getting a little aggressive here early on, but they're still 3 wide. Brody Hand in the middle of the 4 and the 14, and just a little bit in front of him, they're almost 3 wide again. So a lot of cars just really trying to dice it up to come into this stage break.
I really don't understand what Brody Hanna was thinking right there, because not only does he risk wrecking another driver and then making himself look bad. Oh, we got contact right there. Kyle Milliken and Ben Tracy almost into one another, turning each other around. They were able to save it, but the 25 of Hollingsworth will go right by while Milliken and Tracy start to fall back with those old tires. And Milliken saves it. It looks like the 23 was starting to wash up. The 42 was coming down. And ultimately right there, they just met in the middle. And thankfully, Kyle Milliken was able to save it right there.
Yeah, that was just classic, getting off turn 4, trying to get all the thing you can, and the 42 didn't have the greatest exit there, came down the track a little bit. They met up. It definitely costed the 42 about 4 positions there, as he's now battling alongside the 22, Robert Malikian. That kind of separates the first and second pack a little bit here, but still well in this top 10, Jason. There's a lot of good racing, still 3 wide here as they come through back turn number 4.
Yeah, lots of great racing all over the place as we're approaching that stage break right here at lap number 40. So this time by at the line, about 16 laps to go in the stage. Everybody fighting for every position. Battle for the lead, though. Josh Johnson to the inside of Jeff Chandler. Looked like he was going to take a peek still is, but he's not going to get there just yet. They single file out down the back straightaway.
Doyle Lawrence on the chat saying, holy wow. And yeah, this racing here since the drop of the green flag for the second time has been holy wow through the entire field. 57 Joshua Johnson remains still one of the fastest cars on the track, just needs a little bit extra momentum to get around this 31, who right now is the class of the field through 25 laps. But Richie Coy, since this restart, he's moved up quite a bit, trying to battle for second.
Yeah, and he's up 6 spots. Remember, it would be a good night for him to finish inside the top 3. Now he moves up to the second while he battles with Josh Johnson up there. Remember, Richie had a terrible night, to say the least, and that's just a little bit. There was so much more to that night on Wednesday here in the Truck Series. Probably easily, out of all the races I've seen Richie Coy run, easily by millions and millions of votes if I had to, his worst race I've ever seen. I mean, I don't even ever think reached the top 5 at any given point that I remember. I just remember him always being in the back, having a lot of damage, getting involved in a couple wrecks. So this is a really good night for him here, for Richie Coy, as he heads down into turn number 1, still trying to battle for a podium position while he has Ryan Hedrick to his outside entering 2.
I love the guys are utilizing the 3rd and 4th lane. Already riding on board with Ryan Hedrick there in the 47, utilizing the 4th lane up the track. Gets a great launch off corner exit, almost clears, and actually does clear the number 7 of Wayne Grossi. He remains back in the 4th lane, going to follow his teammate, the 57 Joshua Johnson, in the wake of his draft here. And come back off corner exit the 7, try to make a move, but this run is just so strong on the top. Re-clears Wayne Grossi, and they all single file out.
Yeah, everybody just trying to fight for every single piece of real estate. The laps are winding down here inside at the lap 40 mark. The yellow flag will, or after lap 40, after lap 40, the yellow flag will obviously come out for the stage end. So each one of these drivers inside the top 10 trying everything they can do to make some kind of point. Right now, from 1st to 10th, only separated by 1.1 seconds. So look right there. It looks like a restart coming into turn 4. Oh, Chad Lang gets loose, able to save it off the door of Ryan Hedrick. But all these drivers inside the top 10 fighting as if it were like a mini race to the checkered flag here at lap 40.
Chad Lang just pushes up on corner exit, barely touches the 47's left rear, and that sent his rear tires sliding, but a good save by him, and he's still fighting that loose now going through turn 2. The number 9 of Colby Meist passes him completely as Chad Lang moves up, slides in right in front of the 51 of Brandon Elder. As remember that long game that he was going to play, started this race back, 25th? Look at him sitting nice and comfortable now in the top 10.
Yeah, a lot of these guys inside the top 10 that started well outside of it. Wayne Grossi, Ryan Hedrick, Brandon Elder up 17 spots from where he started. Heck, even Tyler Brown as well, sitting inside 9th right now. We are 3 wide. Battle for 3rd right now. Johnson, Grossi, Hedrick. Oh, he's loose. He's loose. Hedrick's loose. He's going to squeeze one of the drivers into the wall. Believe that was the 4 of Chad Lang. Thankfully, they were all able to gather it back up. But these guys are racing like it's the last lap here. The last handful of laps, this time by 10 laps to go in this stage. And Ryan Hedrick, you got to think, with a move like that, not everybody is going to give you room like Chad Lang did off turn number 2.
Yeah, Chad Lang thankfully did not hit the wall there, had a decent amount of space there. It looked like from that camera angle, though, definitely looked like he was pinched up in there, but we're good to go. Now he's going to go to the bottom here, the 47 of Hedrick, trying to regain, get back into this 5th place position. More loose, though, from the 4 car. Just continues to fight loose on corner exit turn 2 for the past 3 laps in a row. This is going to allow the 9 of Colby Meist back underneath them going to turn 3. And tries to push up into the 3rd lane. Chad Lane's going to have that awesome run, though, as the 57 of Joshua Johnson gets loose in front of these guys as they go off to the front stretch.
And Josh Johnson, probably just because of running so hard and running and ripping that top lane, that's why he's falling back so much, significantly slower than most of those guys inside the top 10 here this last time around. And now this gives the opportunity to Richie Coy and Wayne Grossi up at the front of the field. Wayne Grossi, for gosh sakes, could possibly be a stage winner here in just a handful of laps. And also Ryan Hedrick, coming off of a top 10 last week as you ride on board with Jeff Chandler from the rear bumper. He does not want to see that number 19 in his rearview mirror at all. Jeff wants to try to gain all the ground he can on Richie Coy, who's the points leader over him coming into tonight by just 91 points. Obviously, it's nearly impossible for Jeff Chandler to win the Season B title, but he would love to gain all the points on Richie Coy that he can for the overall championship, possibly. But we'll have to see. And oh, Coy gets tight off turn number 2. Here comes Grossi to the inside.
Yeah, good battle here for second and third place. Still remain side by side entering turn 3. And yeah, you definitely got to play the points game for the overall championship. We know Richie Coy's all but got this thing locked up with only 3 races left of the season after this one is completed. So you got to play for the overall championship points race for sure. But the Wayne Grossi machine, that 7 car, has just been fast since its drop of the green flag for the first restart of this event. And I don't know, he's still battling. It's just so hard to pass in these next-gen cars here. He tries to run the bottom, the car gets choked up, gets a little loose, has to fall back in behind the 19. But, I mean, if your cars are equal, it is so difficult to pass here at Michigan when that outside just has all the momentum.
Yeah, it's really tough. And oh no, what can we see right here? Ryan Hedrick started to get a little loose, started to wash up the track, similar to what we saw Christopher Bell do on Alex Bowman in yesterday's Cup race, where Bell went to the bottom of the track, got loose while battling for the lead, and spun out. Almost happened to Ryan Hedrick there, down into 3. And now here comes the draft. Chad Lang, Josh Johnson, they've caught up to the back of Wayne Grossi, while the 47 struggles for grip right now off 2. The 4's loose as well. Man, this is some great racing up here at the front.
Poor Chad Lane continues to battle a loose handling car, and the 57 almost puts his tires on the 5th groove and turns 1 and 2 that time. You commented about, hey, he's been ripping the top. Well, he just keeps moving up and up and up, and right there he's finding the 5th groove, this time through corner exit 4. Just that's where his car feels the best, and almost a little contact there between the 47 and 57.
Yeah, the 47 actually brushed the wall there, Jeremy, off turn number 4, and it was all because Josh Johnson just kind of cleared right there off the corner, and the 47 was moving up. Not really anybody's fault, just a racing deal, but the 47 did make contact with the wall there off turn number 4, but thankfully no incident happens, and they keep on going as they head down the back straightaway into turn 3, and maybe here in just a few laps, we might be able to see Richie Coy get to Jeff Chandler and possibly pass him here for the stage win. He's back by 0.18 seconds faster than Chandler last time around. And now on lap 37, handful of laps to go. Who's going to win the stage?
That was a great camera angle there from our producer, Dustin Logston, looking at the right rear quarter panel of Joshua Johnson going through turns 3 and 4 that time. Really just shows you how close he was getting to that wall. Some tracks are really good for it. This one, in history, the 3rd and 4th groove have been strong, but the 5th groove is just really hard to get hooked up. But somehow the 57 has a car to run inside the top 5 and run that 4th and 5th groove as his teammate Ryan Hedrick tries to outdo him here as they're both now searching for the paint. They're on the top of 3 and 4, but they're still remaining in 5th and 6th place. But to answer your question, who wins the stage break? I got to give it to 31. I think it's just going to be a little too hard to pass here.
Am I watching the 2009 Life? Oh, and we got a caution right now. I can't make my old throwback puns and jokes that I always do. And this, more than likely here, Jeremy, is going to end the stage coming out on lap 38. We're going to take a look here at what happened. Oh, boy. What a hit. Kyle Milliken. And looks like one of the Tracys. It's Ben Tracy there in the 63. Hard impact off turn number 4. We're going to have to look at that again, but off turn 4, just saw the 42's hood go flying, and here it is, off the corner. Looks like the 42 just kind of dove it in, starts coming up the track, and then Tracy starts coming down, but ultimately the 42 just starts coming up, gets a little loose, and then unfortunately he just falls victim to, you know, something that really wasn't of his control right there, and the same goes for Ben Tracy in the 63.
Yeah, I was going to blame the hot old tires for that one, but looking at the 42, when he got the corner exit, his wheel just kind of straightened up. I don't know if he just had a really casual exit there, but just ran out of room there between him and the 63, and they did make that contact, sent him around to the infield. And to answer your question, yeah, that is the end of stage break when it's within a certain amount of laps. So that'll do it. Jeff Chandler gets the win on stage 1, Richie Coy 2nd, Wayne Grossi 3rd, Chad Lang 4th, Joshua Johnson 5th. And that's going to bring us to our first picture-in-picture commercial break. We'll be back with you guys shortly before the drop of the green flag for stage 2. Okay. And welcome back to our voices here as we got just under one lap left, and we're going to quickly go over the top 10 recap here presented by Nerd TV. First and foremost, at 31, Jeff Chandler, once he found the race lead, it has been on from there every single lap since taking the lead. I think I'm around lap 3 or 4. Richie Coy, one of the biggest movers in the top 10 here, up 7 spots from 9 to 2nd. Now he's got a fresh set of tires along that 31. This race is going to get really good between these two, I believe it. And the 7 of Wayne Grossi in 3rd place. He's up 11 positions himself. And he's proven right now, at least early on, to be one of the top 5 contenders in this race. The 4 of Chad Lang, if he's got his car a little bit tightened up on corner exit, I think he's going to be a strong contender. 57 of Joshua Johnson. Hopefully this restart, he doesn't find the wall and slows himself down, because I believe that car has some good speed to keep him well within the top 5 as well. His teammate Ryan Hedrick right behind him, up 10 positions. Tyler Brown in the 00 in new colors, that white car. I used to see him in that orangish blue colored car. Now he's up 11 spots from 18th to 7th. Brandon Elder 25th to 8th. Robert Merlikian 2nd to 9th, one of the farthest guys down from his starting spot. And Stephen Hollingsworth starting in 10th place, only got 2 spots. But here we are. Green flag is out. 31 has a delayed restart. This is going to allow the 19 of Richie Coy to get a great jump and actually beat Jeff Chandler to the line. So that is technically our 3rd lead change. Belongs to the 19 of Richie Coy.
And they're dead even, Jeremy, going down into turn number 1. Now the question is, will the 31 use the 19, try to wash him up the track? 19 is going to pinch him a little bit, this time off the corner. Give the points leader the race lead. Richie Coy to the front of the field here, but not so long. Here comes Jeff Chandler. He's going to look down to the inside of the racetrack now. Try to throw it down in there on Richie Coy down to 3.
This race is guaranteed to be good in this top 5. I believe it has every makings of it. We're 3 wide here. Race lead now belongs single-handedly to the 19 of Richie Coy. 3 wide for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Chad Lang with a great run on the top here. He's going to find himself in P2. 57 to Mr. Joshua Johnson, rather. I think he might have touched the wall again. He falls back a couple more spots. Now he's going to be 3 wide with Hollingsworth and that 51 of Brandon Elder.
I mean, are you surprised? The 57's been absolutely ripping the top wall here. And before that caution came out to end the first stage, I was going to say, what am I watching? The 2009 LifeLock 400 here at Michigan where Brian Vickers won? Because I remember the end of that race and everybody and their mother was ripping the top lane all the way up against the wall. Remember the big COT wings on the back with the splitters with the braces on them? You could do that back then, but now with these cars nowadays, the way the track is aged and the lack of grip that you have, you just can't do that anymore. But Josh Johnson, he's trying to make it work here tonight, and surely enough, it hasn't gone all that bad if he's still running inside the top 10.
You know that CO2 is so bad when you can rip the top at Richmond and be fast for sure. But really the top 5, top 10 almost have single filed out here. We're almost 3 wide though for about 10th place once again, which, like I said, never ceases to amaze me that they're doing that. But they kind of simmer down as they get off exit turn 4. The 7 of Wayne Grossi looking underneath the 19, maybe thinking about a position swap. He gets his nose there, and groove number 2 gets a half a car length in front of the 19. 19 is going to get a great launch off corner exit with the side draft. Dead heat going to 3.
Great racing etiquette between the two of these guys right now. Wayne Grossi, Richie Coy, 2 of the cleanest guys here in the business. And sure enough, you see Wayne Grossi continuing to try to make that look down to the inside on Richie Coy. Wayne Grossi, though, this time by down the straightaway, he's got a little bit of drafting help behind him, but everybody fanning out here as they head down to 1. What will Jeff Chandler do? He's got a massive run down into turn 1.
Well, Jeff Chandler's going to play the patience game and wait for this side-by-side action to go away before he pounces here, but everybody else is getting a little more aggressive, getting 2 wide, all bunched up here in this top 10. 31's going to help the 7 of Wayne Grossi, thinking he has a slightly better car, help propel him around. So as long as Wayne Grossi can hold this to the next couple corners, it's going to be your 4th lead change this evening.
Chandler and Grossi working like Cal Naughton and Ricky Bobby there to pass Jean Girard, being Richie Coy down to turn number 3. Sure enough, Grossi got the position, while Chandler now tries to make his way back inside the top 2. He'll head down to the bottom. of Richie Coy with Lang behind him. And here comes Hollingsworth to try to help Coy off turn number 2. Coy's going to get a little bit of a run. Rossi slides up, and Chandler's still putting his right rear fender on Coy's left rear quarter panel down into 3.
Battle still heating up here on the chats here on YouTube. Sherwood Williford out of the car, that 33 machine, saying, if you don't have the skill to side draft, then don't. Well, obviously that's referring to his incident there at the 07 of Tracy. But they're coming off the front stretch here. The 31 and the 19 are still side by side. You're probably going to see this for most of this stage. I just have a really good feeling these two are going to be just so close. But the 4 of Chad Lang wanting this spot to open up, because I think he's thinking he's got a car that puts himself in the 2nd or 3rd place easily. Once they get single filed out here, which looks like the 19 of Richie Coy. He's going to have the preferred groove off of turn 2, clears that 31, but Hollingsworth out of nowhere is going to dive it deep into turn 3 and try to take over the 4th position and maybe the 31.
Just some, oh my goodness, what a slide job right there. That wasn't even a slide job. That was just, hey man, let me just kind of scoot on in right here. Kind of like a conga line there. If you were at a party, and Stephen Hollingsworth, man, nearly caused a wreck there. You saw him get loose. You saw the 4 get loose there. But man, back-to-back weeks. Oh, Tyler Brown got a little tap there from the 4. Chad Lang almost into the wall. I think Tyler Brown was off turn number 2. Saw in behind Hollingsworth. The 4 washed up the racetrack. Kind of gave a little bit of a tap to Brown entering or exiting turn number 2. They were able to save it there. But man, Jeremy, 2 weeks in a row, we've had some sort of drivers being aggravated. Last week, it was Chris Beck and Ryan Chapman. This week, we see it's Stephen Hollingsworth and Brody Hanna, and now Sherwood Williford and Rob Tracy. So drivers are getting heated here these last 2 weeks towards the end of Season B.
Tracy John on the Facebook chat. So the 57 Hollingsworth and the 00 Tyler Brown both synchronized, getting loose off corner exit there. They both gather it up. Excellent driving there for both of them, not the wreck in front of the entire field. But I was saying, Tracy John on Facebook saying, let's go Wayne Grassi. He's got a cheerleader in the chats here. We're going to jump it over to the Nerd TV replay and see the wheel work from the the 25 once again off corner exit. Man, that is not a fun sight when you're 180 mile an hour off corner exits and you have to correct your car.
Yeah, especially when that's the 2nd time you've had to do that. Yeah, no thanks. I mean, 3 times might actually end up sending him around. But man, what a battle back here. Oh, he makes a little bit of contact with Colby Mice off turn number 2. That wasn't the 3rd time. That might have been 2.5 right there. And you see Hollingsworth kind of just start to lay off. He'll give the position to Mice under fire from Rob Tracy. Now the 51 of Brandon Elder to the top of the racetrack. And man, Stephen Hollingsworth is dropping like a rock down the front straightaway just because he's in that sucker hole. Yeah, I was just going to say that. Thank you, Walter, for telling me the word that I knew I was going to use there. That's the sucker hole, baby. Once you get put in that position down the middle, you see it in a lot of places like Daytona, Talladega, and obviously now the new Atlanta Motor Speedway there. Yeah, that happens. You put that car in the middle, and nobody goes with you, and you have a driver's drafting up on the top and the bottom. You're going right through that hole and all the way to the back of the train.
It's just so difficult because when you get to the right side quarter panel, you lose all the air off your car and it slows you down. And then you get the car on the left that does the same exact thing, pulls the air away from your car, and you're just, you're getting pulled really far back. And so you saw that there on the front stretch last lap. The 25 was victim that lost several positions just on the front stretch alone. Finds himself all the way back to 19th after he had just on the chats about 5 laps ago or so when he was battling inside the top 5. He put in fun. Well, you might want to reverse those words because now he's in 19th. But the top 3, Jason, have really separated. And then the 4th place car, the 4 of Chad Lang, leading this rest of the field here. As there's still 3 wide there for just outside 10th place.
It's been kind of like this here all race. Once you start getting a green flag run going, I mean, we've seen guys pull away. We've seen guys not be able to pull away. We've seen guys stay side by side for multiple laps. It's kind of just how you handle the draft, how your car is able to manipulate the draft, how it's able to work around everybody, So that's really all we've seen here tonight. But more than likely, everybody's going to stay single file here. You'll start to see more drivers spread out unless we get another yellow, which will bring these guys probably back down into the pits. to take 2 tires, if not just, fill her up with fuel possibly. But so far, some great racing here tonight, as always, here from Michigan. And maybe we'll have to see if Chad Lang can lead that little pack here back to the leaders as Jeff Chandler continues to look here on Wayne Grossi.
As guys continue to duke it out here, we're going to kick it up to turn up the tudes. We're going to listen to all the sounds of these next-gen cars going around Michigan Raceway. And back to our voices on your guys' feed here, and new leader since we left you. The number 31 of Jeff Chandler resumes as your race leader for the fifth lead change this evening as he dropped 2 spots Now he sits behind the 31 and the 19, which Jeff Chandler and Richie Coy, no surprise, are still within 2/10 of each other here. And they've really just gapped the rest of this field, Jason. Fourth place, Jamie Knopp, catching a little bit, but doesn't have any draft help right now, so he's just kind of stationary. But he's a second and a half behind the 31. And then Ben Tracy in the 63, after being involved in that wreck with the 42 there for the second caution this evening. He right now resides in fifth place, 3 seconds behind your race lead.
I don't know how the heck that's possible. I mean, he must have taken all the optimal damage time. It must have not been as bad as we thought in Germany off turn 4 with Kyle Milliken. So good to see that Ben Tracy has been able to kind of rebound since that incident here. He kind of leads right now over Ryan Hedrick, Chad Lang back behind them while they duke it out. But nevertheless, good run here for Ben Tracy tonight, who is currently residing right in the spot where he started at.
Yeah, no kidding. Started fifth, P5 now, and he holds a good chunk of lead over the number 4 of Chad Lang, a half a second for sure. And then you can see a much larger pack here. Close behind. They're in his draft wake, so I know they're going to be holding on just because of that, but the 63 just seems to have corner exit down a little bit nicer than these guys. You see the 4 Chad Lang really slide up on corner exit, almost makes wall contact. He does make wall contact, getting loose again. That 4 car has been loose so many times off a turn 2 exit. It is no surprise that it finally struck against him. He's going to lose 2 spots getting into 3.
Yeah, just a lot of hard racing here going on inside this little battle. You see Chad Lang, Robert Malikian kind of starting to come back from where he ended up. He was way there in the back, started up towards the front. He's making his way up now, currently in the ace spot. So hopefully we'll be able to see Rob come back up through the field. He'll try to throw a little bit of a slide job there on Chad Lang. Wasn't able to do it, but now finds himself side by side with Colby Miso. Chad Lang loose off the corner. Lots of guys seeming to have some trouble off 2 here tonight.
Chad Lang especially leading that way for sure, and Tyler Brown, the 00 White Monster Toyota Camry, he's also been having a little bit of issues himself here. This battle inside the top 10 is still just where you want to be. Focus on what the cameras, because these guys are consistently swapping positions left and right. And right now, the 9 and 22, Robert Malikian, which that was my pick early in this race. He actually started from pit row. I don't know if we had noticed that previous tonight, but I was wondering why on lap 3 he was back all the way in the mid-20s. But he has recovered nicely here, now finding himself in 7th place off corner exit with the number 9 of Colby Mice to his inside. He needs one more caution or so to get back to where he was inside that top 5.
Yeah, and Colby Mice is really just kind of doing a really good job. Same with Chad Lang right now. They've fallen back from where they once were, but they're still absolutely digging right now. You see Colby. Oh, and here comes. Oh, I thought Colby was going to pit there for a second. He was really, really low, a lot lower than most guys take on the exit right there. I just think it's because he didn't want to make any sort of contact. Oh, no, and Colby Mice almost around. Saves it, made a little bit of contact there with Tyler Brown, but man, Colby Mice not having a good run back up towards the front from where he was in practice. But back up at the front, Richie Coy has gotten past Jeff Chandler for the lead.
You're gonna look at that replay, and this is actually one of the really trickiest things to do in sim racing is when you're on a big track like this and you utilize the apron to shortcut the front straightaway. It's really difficult to see where that car is above you. They're in your blind spot. If you don't have a spotter telling you where he's at, you just don't know. So you had to kind of merge back up and be very cautious when you do so. And he made contact, and he quickly came on that radio and said, "Sorry, Brandon." And Brandon said, "It's okay." So no hard feelings right there. But that is so tricky to do in that blind spot as we're looking now live at the 31 of the 19. You said Richie Coy had taken over the lead at the line last time. It did belong to Richie Coy. Coming to the line this time. They are dead heat down the front straight. Richie breaks the side draft. Not going to be enough. Jeff Chandler back to the point.
And these guys are duking it out, having one hell of a battle here, about a little past halfway here in the race. And down into turn number 1, Richie Coy is going to continue to try to run that bottom like he's done all night long here, while Jeff Chandler works up to the top side. He'll get the runoff too down the back straightaway. Chandler will edge out ahead of Richie Coy, and the person who's loving this right behind him, Wayne Grassi, coming back into the picture here, only back by 0.2 of a second as they work their way all 4.
Minus Jamie Knopp. These guys have a 6-second lead over 5th place on back. Still side by side for over a lap now between the 19 and 31. That outside is just too strong. Jeff Chandler's going to remain the leader this time around. The 19 is going to have to either get a really good, strong run there on the bottom, or else he's going to have to move his car to the top and make the outside work for him.
Yeah, for sure. And that's the thing. Your car adapts obviously during certain runs of the race. You've been running it for so long, the tire degradation kind of starts to settle in, and then you've got to start to having to move around. You saw in today's end of the Cup race, you saw Chris Buescher really dominant there, but Truex was the strongest car all race. Truex tried to run the bottom, something he just couldn't do. Ultimately got loose underneath Buescher, could not make the pass, got back to him, but ultimately fell short by just a car length. Great battle for the win today for the Firekeepers Casino 400 earlier at Michigan today. But that's the thing. You got to learn to adapt here with this racetrack. So wide, so abrasive. And that's the thing. Kind of reminds me of a little bit more of a technical auto club per se.
Man, that was such a veteran move there by the 19 of Richie Coy. You saw him the last couple laps running the inside, knew he couldn't do it, right? So what he did is he fell in line behind the 31, waited for that great launch off of turn 4, got all the draft, moved low. They were almost completely nose to nose entering the corner, and he utilized all that extra momentum he carried into the corner to pass the 31 of Jeff Chandler on corner exit. And now he's going to lead this race the rest of the way here until the 31 gets back to him, because 31 a little loose off of turn 2 that time. His car is actually starting to slow down a little bit, and Wayne Grossi and Jamie Knopp, who was a second and a half back, even without draft, able to catch these guys. This 84 might be a spoiler here.
I think we can easily say right now here, Jeremy, when it comes to the second half of this race, these 4 guys are the ones we're going to have to watch for. I mean, they've pulled out from Brandon Elder from Richie Coy back to Brandon Elder. It is 6.5 seconds now. From Grossi to Elder, it's 6 seconds. So they have a huge lead over these guys. As you see Brandon Elder just now heading into 1, you're going to see them kind of start to go away on your screen. Hell, you can't even see them. They're already almost about to enter 3 while they're already exiting turn number 2. So it just goes to show you how fast those front 4 are here tonight.
I do a quick shout out to one of our partners. This is going to belong to the series sponsor here tonight, Mach-1 Performance. The race fabrication shop that's been started by the late Johnny Coy Jr. The shop has produced champions and winners of all sorts of racing divisions, from road circuits like the SCCA to NASA, dirt and pavement oval racing. Visit them on Facebook at facebook.com/Mach-1 Performance. And then I'll double dip on that if I can. Go to the Nerditude site and check out the Nerd Swag. We got new shirts called Shirtitudes. That lineup is going to be growing here shortly. They're on your right-hand side of your screen. If you go swag.nerditudes.gg, it'll take you right there. Or we got a brand new layout there on the main homepage at nerditudes.gg. You just click on the top banner and go over to Nerd Swag. We got new shirts. We got cups. We got mouse pads. We got quite a few different things in there. Go check it out. Support the nerds if you can. That would be awesome. And also the jerseys and gloves, which are exclusive to Martin Sports. So if you want to pick one of those up, a nice discount, Super Nerds, 25% off.
Yeah, and obviously, some great stuff we got over there. Surely got to go check it out, because I tell you what, that swag merch is absolutely killer. Dustin was boasting about it to me the other day, and rightfully so, because, man, it does look fire. Almost as fire as what we have here going on the racetrack, with the continuous battles for the lead between Richie Coy, Jeff Chandler, Jamie Knopp, Wayne Grossi. These guys continuing to still heat up a little bit of a battle. It seems like Richie Coy, though, Jeremy, is kind of a lot better than these 3 guys as of right now. I mean, Coy, every single corner off exit kind of starts to creep away from Jeff Chandler here late in these runs.
Yeah, Richie just continues to show the middle and the long run is where Richie Coy excels. It's almost no one can touch him when it comes to the long runs, right? So we're starting to see this at Michigan, where you're going 180 mile an hour in these corners. Tire wear is hard to manage sometimes, and doesn't matter if Richie's on a short track, a huge track like this. Just continue to show that speed. Even though the 3 guys behind him have the draft and has that advantage, they still can't catch the 19 right now, who's just single-handedly doing it. Now on the bottom of the track, really just showing off that's a degree or so flatter down there in the very bottom of the track. So if your car's tight, you want to utilize that to maybe rotate your car a little bit more by dipping your left sides down there. But the 19 has done the middle, the top, the bottom, and he's continued to run this race P1.
Yeah, and he's just absolutely digging right now as Jamie Knopf is almost trying to clear Jeff Chandler right now down the straightaway. Not able to do it. They battle side by side right behind him. And it looks like Chandler is going to be able to clear Jamie Knopf here going down to turn number 1. And Knopf still trying the best he can down on that bottom side of the racetrack. Just can't get there yet. We'll have to see. And Chandler gets a little bit tight off the corner. Had to lift out of the gas big time right there. Don't know if he got tight or loose, but not only Knopf, Grassi's also going to get by. That's going to be for the 3rd position, while Chandler slides back to 4th.
I was just going to say Jamie needs to do the same thing Richie did, was back up turn 3 and 4, get a great launch on exit. But nope, the 31 made a mistake. You see it on Nerd TV replay. Just gets tight. The car almost looked like the nose moved up the track. The front tires just lost the grip, slid up a notch, and he had to lift. So he didn't hit the wall from that, and definitely allowed the 7 and the 84 to gain that spot. The 31, Jeff Chandler, back to P4 now. And now Jamie Knopp somehow, someway is in position to potentially lead this race.
Yeah, this is a possibility right here, and we thought that Richie Coy was starting to kind of scoot away, but sure enough, Jamie Knopf has been able to kind of close that gap in just a little bit. Was about almost half a second. Now it's down to 0.3 of a second. Jamie Knopf trying to go back-to-back this weekend, and right now looking like he could do that. He is a little bit faster than Richie Coy by almost about 1/10 of a second. Does not have anything for Richie Coy. But remember, Jeremy, still one more pit stop to go.
Yeah, and from that restart, we're getting close to the halfway mark between the restart of stage 2 and then the checker flags here. So I would say maybe in the next 5 laps or so, we're going to see these guys dip down and take their pit stop, as this field is just really separated. Yeah, you said it, these 4 cars are going to be for the win unless there's a caution. Separate them. I just don't see any other thing happening, though, as the guys 5th on back still continue to be 6.5 seconds now behind these top 4.
Chilling right now. I mean, there's no reason, for them to really duke it out right now. I mean, yeah, they're trying different wides, trying to figure stuff out. But, I mean, there's not really a point to try to race really hard. Might as well just settle in line, wait until the end of the race if you're going to be around that area, once obviously you, kind of blend back in after these green flag pit stops do happen. That's if we do get to green flag pit stops without caution. We'll have to see, but I mean, just the sheer speed of the top 4 drivers tonight have been absolutely outstanding since the drop of the last green flag when the restart occurred. But here we go, Jeremy. We called it, or you called it. Oh, Colby Mice around down the front straightaway on pit road. No. Gets onto the curb. Looks like he's trying to park it right there. Not going to be enough. Then I think the Michigan International Speedway parking police would have to come and give him a ticket if he did, in fact, try to park right there. But good job to not wrap it around back down into the sand barrels right there. He'll come down, though, this time in for his box to get some service.
That's going to cost him at least 10 seconds on the track. The 23, Brody Hanna came down 1 lap prior, so now this is 5-6 cars down pit road. You see on the top half of your screen, you see some more takers. The 37 of Brian DeBlay, the 47 of Ryan Hendrick, amongst a couple of them. And here's on board the helmet cam of Colby Mice. Just drops it into 2nd gear, and you see the thing kick out and then almost gets stuck on that curb where there's almost no travel between the bottom of the car and the track. So thankfully he's able to get off of that. But yeah, it's going to cost him multiple positions and a lot of time on the track.
Yeah, for sure. Just unfortunate heartbreak right there for Colby Mice. Nothing he could really do right there. Coming to the pits super fast, try to get it all together. And unfortunately, just kind of, wraps it around there coming into the pits.
You have quite a few other guys doing so as well. The number 7 of Wayne Garcia, the 07 Robert Tracy, 4 Chad Lang, 00 Tyler Brown. As pit road is super busy right now.
And here come most drivers coming into the pits right now. You see Tyler Brown. There's the 4. There's the 63, I believe it is. Yep, Ben Tracy. Lots of guys starting to come into the pits right now. And, oh, no, what happened to Tracy right there? seemed like he was starting to go. And then unfortunately, I don't know if he just didn't get the tank full of fuel. No, he never even got into his box, thought he was. And then sure enough, just started to drive away. So big time is going to be lost here on pit road for Ben Tracy in the 63. And here comes your leader, Richie Coy and Jamie Knopp. This is going to be the battle we're all going to be watching off pit road.
Ben Tracy gave up 10th place for that. Now he's going to be back in 15th to 20th as this field continues to cycle through pit road. Yeah, you're seeing the 19, the 14, the 42, the 84 of Jamie Knopp. The rest of the leaders, the 17 of Steve Loomis in the far upper half of your screen. Coming off pit road, the 19 barely beats off the 84 of Jamie Knopp. So he's going to lead them through the apron here of 1 and 2.
And, you know, just a big moment right there for a lot of guys on pit road. But Jamie's able to come right out behind Richie Coy on exit. So we'll have to see what happens right here off pit road. Jamie Knopp's right on the rear bumper of Richie Coy. He'll go to the outside and fall right behind Jeff Chandler. And looks like Knopp is going to be able to possibly take the position away from Coy off 3.
Off corner exit here. The 84 seems to have the long run speed. If he can hold the short run speed as well, this guy might be the one who's going to win this race. Hasn't led a green flag lap yet, I don't think. And if he can keep this momentum going right now, he's going to catch this 31 and he's going to lead this race. That's no question in my book anyways. But if there is no more cautions this race, this is it. This is the run here. Conserve a little bit what you have in the beginning and utilize it to get yourself to the end of this race as we have just under 40 laps remaining.
Yeah, and Jeff Chandler is back up at the front where he was earlier, kind of dropped back behind Coy and Knopp. So now that he finds himself out front, we'll have to see how this goes for him. All these guys on equal tires up here inside the top 4 between Chandler all the way back to Grossi, lap 83, 84, 84, and 83. So no real difference, obviously, with the tire wear. Just about merging back off of the pit lane was the big difference. And Jeff Chandler was the winner of that one. Knopp was able to get back by around.
And he is now just in 5th place, cruising with that 22 Robert Malikian, who did start 2nd place, but started on pit road. So he instantly, lost almost a whole lap. And after a couple cautions and got his car to where he needed to be, he is now running in 6th place. So even though he's down 4 spots technically from that starting spot, the way he started on pit road and made his way back up to the field, these guys are 2 of the strongest in that grouping there. It's just they obviously don't have enough for your top 4 who have just been on a whole different level at this moment. But if we pull up our track map presented by iRacing iFlag, we're going to see post green flag pit stops and how things are separated. We got some groups in 1 and 2. We got a couple groups in 3 and 4, but still a decent amount of the field running through the front stretch.
Yeah, obviously still a decent amount for sure. Nobody's really spread out really. I mean, you see right there after the start-finish line, not for a while until you see the race leaders start to come off turn number 4 right there. It's a little bit spread out, but obviously still a lot of guys grouped up together as well here. So this could potentially lead to a yellow flag if they do, in fact, race like they did earlier.
We're going to kick it over to picture-in-picture commercial break, probably our last one of this evening. We'll be back with you guys here momentarily. back to full screen here as this top four just will not let each other go. Just before we came back, those guys were side by side, 2 rows deep for a couple laps there in a row, but right now they're back to single filed out. Every single one wants this top spot, and you're seeing it here. Jamie Knopp just waiting in the wake. The number 7 there, Wayne Grossi, just putting an immense amount of pressure and might be able to get past his 31, who the 19 now, Richie Coy, has resumed as your race leader. And just that mid to long run showing its face there, Jason.
Yeah, everybody inside this top 4 is continuing to just improve more and more and more. Saw some double wide when we were under our picture-in-picture mode there. But here's the guy we're obviously really keeping an eye on is Wayne Grossi in this 7 machine. Fell off towards the end of that tire and green flag run before pit stops by about a second off of this here 4-car pack. But now he's found himself inside that top 3. What does he have for the short run? Obviously, we're coming to lap 100, so there's going to be about 25 laps to go when they come around here, just a handful of laps. What does he have on the short run? Jeff Chandler, he's been super fast on the short run, but Richie Coy, we all know too, he is a guy who is known for his medium, short, long run speed. It doesn't even matter. And then Jamie Knopp going for 2 in a row. He could have something. Was really fast, faster than Jeff Chandler and Richie Coy. Just a handful of laps ago, he finds himself right back there in 4th. But here we go, battle for 7th. Wayne Grossi going for position on Jeff Chandler down to 1.
Wild card for me is Jamie Knopp. The past few runs, he has just given up all speed on the short run and just found himself in the mix on the long run. But now this time, 84 is showing some great short run speed, but we don't know what that tire wear is going to look like for his 84 car on this long run, as they're 3 deep now on the top side. Wayne Grossi by himself on the bottom. They get to turn 3 and 4. Roles reverse. The 84 is now lonely on the top as they slide up on corner exit 4. Everyone single file momentarily. The 7, Wayne Grossi, with the help of Jamie Knopp, back to the inside now of Jeff Chandler.
And they're going to try their best to get around Jeff Chandler down into turn 1. I think they both know they're faster than Jeff Chandler. They want to make quick work of him. Sure enough, they will. They'll clear him into turn 1. Now off 2. Wayne Grossi sets himself up to try to chase after the Fury Motorsports Ford Mustang of Richie Coy. And down the back straightaway, Knopp right there until behind them. Which lane they're going to choose? They'll stay right behind Coy while Grossi peeks to the outside here in 3 and 4.
They all had a really low entrance into turn 3. The 84 Knopp even gets his left side tires on the flat there on the first groove on the track. It doesn't hurt the car's momentum though at all, as it actually helps them rotate. Gets really close to the back of the 7, which the 7 Wayne Grossi is now all over the back bumper. This 19, as Jeff Chandler once again on this mid to long run is struggling for some speed. Able to maintain, but I don't know if he's going to be able to get back around, as here comes Knopp in the 84. Trying to go for P2.
Here we go. The guy who was right faster than Knopp, or not Knopp, but Coy, Grossi, Chandler just a handful of laps ago. Sure enough, going for P2. He'll clear Wayne Grossi off turn 4. Grossi does the switcheroo down to the bottom. Knopp full block down to the front straightaway at the start-finish line. Now 100 laps up on the board. 26 laps to go this time by. And Richie Coy is now probably going to have to fight harder than he has all night long. Sees the 84 in his mirror. Last week's winner trying to make it 2 in a row this weekend in Michigan.
Made some huge improvements mid-season here in this 84. Jamie Knopp is consistently now being one of the strongest guys in this field, as he is now just... I think he's still the wild card. I don't know what these last 20 laps or 25 are going to be in store for this 84, as we've not seen this long run whenever he's maintained the pace with the leaders on the short run. But right now, he has to lift before bumping the 19 of Richie Coy, as we're now looking at the cockpit camera presented by IROC 93.5. Richie Coy dead focused. As you see him come off corner exit, he usually gives that puff of air. This time he's not, as he is just laser locked in, trying to run his line at the same time, watching that mirror, because Jamie Knopp is all over it.
I was literally just going to say that so many laps ago, Jeremy, when we were talking to Richie Coy, or not talking to him, when we were looking at his IROC 93.5. There it is. There it is right there. There's the Richie Coy we all know. He has a second to breathe off turn 4, but he's not going to have a second to breathe here in just a second, because here comes Knopp all over his back bumper, now to the outside in turns 1 and 2. And you bet your bottom dollar, I'm sure once Richie Coy gets clear off turn 2 here, he might give a puff of relief here off the corner. There it is right there. He just did it. Richie Coy is digging right now inside that Advance Auto Parts Ford Mustang. And Jamie Knopf, he's hungry, man. He wants that second win of season B.
And that's when you know you're focused right there. But he gets a great turn, 3 and 4. Clears the 84 by at least a car length and a half, if not 2 car lengths at the line this time, just under 25 laps to go. 84 the 7 get great draft, gets right to the bumper once again. The 84 is going to change up his line into the 4th groove here. Gets a great center of the corner. He's going to get him up with a lot of momentum on the top side. Is he going to utilize it for the pass? He's going to try. He's going to go into the inside and take a look.
Yeah, had a massive run from running that 4th lane off turn number 2, Jeremy. He went down to turn 3, sailed it in there, clipped the bottom of the apron. He'll clear him off turn number 4, but don't think so soon that Knopf's got this yet. Here comes Coy down to the inside, riding that apron. Not enough. Now back to the rear bumper. He'll head down to the left rear quarter panel. Not enough. Jamie Knopf back to the top of the charts here in Michigan.
The 84 is so versatile right now. Runs the bottom and then takes one-timer on the top side. Gets all that momentum. Huge draft. Dives it deep onto the bottom of turn 3 and makes the pass happen. I don't know how that car stuck, but here comes Richie Coy. He saw that inside lane work against him in turn 3 and 4. He's going to try to do the same thing, but not just a little bit faster on corner exit. The 19, I think, could slide up and clear him, but he's going to keep that draft away, give him to the line. That lap belongs to the 19.
Yeah, these guys are just putting on one hell of a show for us right now. And to think that these are probably the 2 best cars we've seen all night. We know Jamie Knopf was faster towards the long run. We know Richie Coy is good at all ends of the runs, whether it's beginning, middle, to end. But now, could Wayne Grossi, Jeff Chandler capitalize on these 2 running super hard? This time by 20 laps to go, this time by the line.
These guys are still heating it up. There is a couple other battles on the track, though, too. 7th, 8th, and 9th. Those guys have not let each other go in a little bit. That's the number 4 of Chad Lang, the 37 of Brian Dublé, and the 07 of Robert Tracy. Those guys have been within a half a second to a full second for the past 20 laps themselves. They're finally starting to separate from that 37, but 07 and the 4 definitely running just all inside this top 10, doing a great job doing so. Just wanted to kind of cycle through the field a little bit. Another battle on track, the 87 of Michael Blackner and the 10 of Colton Gum. Those two, actually now the 57 coming into the play here a little bit as they are searching on the top half of this track, trying to find some grip as well. 20 or the 87, Blackner gets a little loose off corner exit, gives at least the lane up to the 10.
Yeah, he was up into the wall there through turn number 2 and then had to just shoot off the wall. And this is going to present Colton Gum with a great opportunity, a driver who we have not talked about all night long, trying to go to the outside. This is the battle for the 13th spot. And then there's the guy behind them that we talked about in the first half of this race, Josh Johnson, what could have been for the driver of the 57 machine. He's going to keep gripping that top lane like he's done all night long. It just hasn't come into play for him. Started second, back to the 15th spot right now for Josh Johnson. But there is some battling all throughout the racetrack. Lots of guys just trying to pick off drivers from one single position. Saw before Colby Mice, Ryan Hedrick, they were battling as well. But right now, Josh Johnson trying to work his way around Colton Gum and Michael Blackner.
Jumping back to the top 4 here, the number 7 Wayne Grossi gets a little tight on corner exit. The 31 of Jeff Chandler, I think, has regained a little bit of speed in that car for this long run, cooling off his tires where he can. But right now, the 84 and the 19 are still the class of the field here. And these are these 4 right here are the closest around this whole entire track on average, right? So we're going to give them all the light. Plus, it's for the race lead. This is where all the action is. We'll give a shout out to one of our partners while we're doing so. Team Watson Racing Setups, the leading name in quality, affordability, and professionalism. With a staff of decorated, distinguished, and dedicated setup builders, TWRS delivers top-notch race and championship-winning setups to the iRacing garages of drivers across the simulation community. check out a full list of services at teamwatsonracing.com.
And here comes Wayne Grossi down to the inside, Jeremy. He's got a huge run on Jamie Knopf, but it's just not going to be enough. Jeff Chandler will take advantage of not heading down up on the outside of the racetrack, so he'll stay in tow behind him, but Knopf going to be able to clear Wayne Grossi with a big move down to turn number 1. He'll work that outside in, and Jamie Knopf's going to try to go run back down Richie Coy back by 3/10, while Chandler tries to get around Grossi down to 3.
Gives up all that momentum, though, to shortcut the entrance. Maybe gets the long game here on turn number 4 exit. The 7's going to run up in that 4th groove. The 31 slides into that 4th groove on exit. Gets back to him, though, so really conservative turn 3, but gets all the speed back in turn 4. And he doesn't do anything with it. He's going to actually stay in line here as they go through turns 1 and 2. Now Richie Coy moving up a half a lane or so, and everybody else following right behind him on groove number 2. We saw that groove in turn 1 and 2 work so well for Jamie Knopf last time. Maybe he wants to utilize it again to get back around this 19.
Yeah, and here's the thing, too. You got to think, Jeremy, look on the bottom. Kyle Milliken is going to present a little bit of a challenge for some of these guys being a lap car down there on the bottom. Jamie Knopf actually got a way better entry into turn 3 than the 19 of Richie Coy, and down the straightaway, 14 laps to go this time by. Richie Coy is going to have another charge at the 84 of Jamie Knopf right here down to turn number 1. This, sure enough, is looking like a Chris Buescher, Martin Truex Jr. type battle. We keep seeing these guys battle throughout the last 30 laps, plus the 31, plus the 7. Any 4 of these guys here up at the front can win, as Jeff Chandler looks to try to make his way back inside the top 2 to the inside of Knopf here off turn number 4.
Let's see how this outside works. It has not worked so much for these guys on 3 and 4. All the speed so far has been at 1 and 2, at least for the top 4, that is. But Chandler, as I mentioned about 5 laps prior, he's got those tires cooled off a little bit. Now he's going to get a little aggressive here as he's going to pass the 84 at Jamie Knopf, and now it's going to be back to the 31 and the 19 momentarily. But you got to believe the 19 loves to see these guys going side by side right behind him. That just means a little more tire wear for those guys and a little less that he has to conserve here in that 19 machine. Going through turns 3 and 4 this time, headed to 13 laps to go, or 12 laps to go rather. At 31 though, I think he's going to be there in a few laps.
Yeah, he could be. I mean, he was the guy back and forth, just kind of hanging back there, saving his tires, wasn't battling like Knopf, Coy, and Grossi were here as he looks to take a peek down to the inside. The 19 gets a little loose entering the corner, but sure enough, Coy still has the momentum off corner exit, while Knopf is trying to attack on Jeff Chandler off turn number 2. Any four of these guys here, Jeremy, can still win, but because of Jeff Chandler being able to save his tires a little bit more, I do in fact think he does too have something for Richie Coy.
Side by side there, at least for a quick moment there, relinquish that back. Jeff Chandler with a great run off of turn 4. Will he do something with it? Looks like he's going to remain directly behind the 19. Runs the same exact tire groove as the 19 through turns 1 and 2 here. The 84 does the same thing. Wayne Grossi in the 7 slides up a little bit more on corner exit. And when you run directly behind someone so close to these corners, you saw the speed drop away from that 31. Just does not have enough downforce to keep him right behind the 19. He lost a whole car length and then some. He's got to regain that now going through 3 and 4.
Yeah, everybody's going to have to kind of gain something here if they want to even chase Richie Coy. And down the front straightaway, Richie Coy goes for the snake maneuver this time by. Put 10 fingers up in the air, 2 high fives, you can say. 10 laps to go. And here comes Jeff Chandler down to the inside of the racetrack trying to make another run at Richie Coy, but it's just not enough off turn number 2. He's loose off the corner exit while Coy starts to pull away. Chandler's got the draft back by now, just a 1/10 of a second. Knopf giving Chandler a push down to 3.
This is where you got to very much so minimize these mistakes. That 31 needs every single ounce of skill and luck and everything in between to get around this 19, as we know his long run game and his patience, and he's just laser focused behind this wheel at this point. So you're going to have to do anything you possibly can to get around Richie Coy. He had the momentum that time, Jeff Chandler did not make the pass effort though So I think he may be testing the waters to see which way is the best way to do it. Obviously, the 19 is faster in 1 and 2. This pass has to be completed through 3 and 4 or the front stretch.
Yeah, it's definitely a possibility. I just don't think that Jeff Chandler is going to make any kind of pass here on Richie Coy, Jeremy, unless somehow, some way he gets to the quarter panel entering a corner and is able to go to the outside to have enough momentum. But that's the difficult part here about Michigan. We saw it today at the end of the Cup race. Martin Truex Jr. could not get around Chris Buescher there in the 17 machine. Sure enough, the 19 is the one leading right now, so roles reversed. We'll have to see if the 19 can hang on against the 31.
Got a little draft assistance here, at least momentarily, by the 41. He dips down there. They're chasing him down the track, trying to get every amount of draft possible on the nose of that car. Goes to turn 3. A little bit of separation here as the 7 falls away out of this top 3 here. Jamie Knopp runs the very bottom of the track to get his car to rotate. It looks like it sticks, so I've almost seen almost every single time a car goes down to that bottom lane and turns 3 and 4, they're able to maintain pace. So that might be a little last-minute trickery here for the end of this run.
Yeah, we'll have to see. And everybody right now inside this top 3 between Coy, Chandler, Knopp, all have pretty equal cars. Just the 19's got that one. Oh, he's in the wall. Richie Coy makes a mistake. One all night long, and it's going to cost him the win, possibly. All the way back to 3rd. Jeff Chandler put just enough pressure on the Haskell, New Jersey native to get him loose and up into the marbles, into the wall, and Jeff Chandler goes back to the lead while an angry Richie Coy, a frustrated Richie Coy that is, tries to go after Jamie Knopp.
To the Nerd TV replay to see that incident off of turn 2 there, and we got the tail end of it. Hit that reverse button there, rewind it up, and here we go. 19 just at the very last moment, he tried turning sharp, but he still got the right rear end of the wall there. Enough for the 31 to 84 to make the pass. And I said that this guy was laser focused, and well, I guess it wasn't enough. Made one mistake, and that cost him 2 positions as we come up to 5 laps to go.
Man, I really think that could have cost him the win right there, but we know how strong this number 19 is. We'll have to find out and see. 5 laps to go. Jamie Knopp went to 2nd, tried to go for the lead. Now he falls back to 3rd, while Richie Coy, the frustrated driver, that 19 machine, tries to run down Jeff Chandler for the race lead off 2.
Excellent race here to end off this Michigan 250. Under 5 laps to go, 4.5 down the back straightaway here. The 19 last lap, 3/10 off the back end of the 31 of Jeff Chandler, going through 3 and 4 this time, which history has shown lately. The 31 has a better time through 3 and 4 than 19 does, but when they get to turns 1 and 2 this time, expect this 19 to gain some of that ground back.
Yeah, we'll have to see, and the question's going to be too, will Jamie Knopp help Richie Coy? Will he push him down the straightaways? Will he choose to pass Richie Coy? It's all going to be about driver etiquette, who's going to give who room, who's going to take whose line away, who's going to be able to work around the racing groove, and Richie Coy knows how to do that, but under pressure. We've seen Richie Coy before. He has absolutely struggled before when he's in situations like this, but he's always super fast, and Jamie Knopp said, nah, I'm not going to push you. He'll clear Richie Coy off too. Never mind. Coy back to the outside, and Jeff Chandler is probably smiling inside his virtual cockpit. Love what he's seeing behind him. He has almost a 6/10 of a second lead now as they head into 1 and 2 with 3 laps to go.
I can hear the virtual crowd here at Michigan cheering on the 31 as he is continuing to separate himself over the 84 and the 19. Doyle Lawrence obviously in the chat saying, go Jeff, go, as he's got over a half a second lead coming up to 2 laps to go in this race.
Yeah, and you know, you think back too here, Jeremy, as he comes up to 2 laps to go, if he can hang on for just 2 more laps, all he needs to do is hang on, don't make any more mistakes, and just hope that he sees that white flag before the dreaded yellow one, if that were to happen. But Jeff Chandler, this season, kicked off Season B with a win at Charlotte. Obviously, we've seen him since then be really, really strong, and then just could never do it. Something always happened, whether it was a wreck, whether it was coming up short, making a mistake. parted ways with Troy Torgerson and other drivers over on the previous team he was on mutually. Formed Hyperforce Esports, been super fast since then, and unfortunately, he's just come up so short. Last weekend was a week for him, which could have been possibly. He'll take the white flag. Tonight looks like it could be Jeff Chandler's night. 4 more corners to go for the number 31.
The white flag presented by absolutely nobody here, and it's only 3 more corners for this 31. Gets through turn 1 and 2, no problem whatsoever. Knopp is a little bit faster than Jeff Chandler, but it's not going to be enough time. There's also some lap traffic coming up, but also that they're not going to get to him by the time they get to the start-finish line one last time through turns 3 and 4. And tonight's win is going to belong to the 31 of Jeff Chandler, absolutely capitalizing off the mistake of Richie Coy, and that is the Martin Sports winning moment.
Job by Jeff Chandler. You want to talk about redemption? It just friggin' happened. Jeff Chandler dominated last weekend, and I mean dominated. The guy led 206 out of 250 laps. Got loose on one of the restarts, came down, gathered it, got loose again, was rear-ended, and unfortunately spun across the field, came home for a 6th place finish. You could say that that was something to salvage out of what could have been, but you know in Jeff Chandler's mind, he was aggravated after that one, wanted to make less mistakes. Sure enough tonight, no mistakes were made, and he is the race winner tonight. 2nd win of Season B from Charlotte. Great job by Jeff Chandler to keep that pressure on Richie Coy, force him into mistake, and he never gave up. And I will say, Jeremy, you mentioned those 4 tires earlier about being a little bit fresher just because of him maintaining that gap and being able to save enough. I think that also played into his hand as well.
Absolutely, and that's going to give him the 2nd win of 2023B. As he's doing his burnouts here on the front straightaway, well deserved, by the way. We're going to go over the unofficial results presented by iRacing iFlag, and Jeff Chandler, P1 here tonight, led the most laps. 84, Jamie Knopp brings it home in 2nd place. Richie Coy ends up in 3rd. Wayne Grossi, strong run for him, ends up in 4th place. Brandon Elder up 20 positions, finishes in 5th. Robert Malikian does end up in 6th. The 4 of Chad Lang 7th. Robert Tracy in the 07, going to finish in 8th place. Stephen Loomis up 18 spots. He's going to finish 9th, and Lane Allen rounds out tonight's top 10.
Top 20 tonight, Michael Blackner comes home 11th plus 9 from where he started. 12th was Tyler Brown in the 00 machine. 13th, Brian Dublé. 14th, Brody Hanna in his return to the FTSR after some wheel issues earlier on these last few weeks. 15th, Josh Johnson on a night which what could have been after starting 2nd tonight. 16th, Ryan Hedrick. 17th, Colby Mice after being the fastest in practice. 18th was Ben Tracy, looked strong earlier on. 19th, Alan Crowell. And 20th goes to James Torrey in the 6 Ford Mustang.
21st on back, multiple laps down. That's going to be the 10 of Colton Gummin. 21st, 22nd, Kyle Milliken. 23rd, Tony Solari. 24th place, Stephen Hollingsworth. 25th, Alan Duranco. 26th place, Sherwood Williford. 27th, Ryan Chapman in tonight's last place car. 110 laps down, the number 67 of James Wallace, who had to park it early. And that's going to bring us to our full screen commercial break. We're going to gather up tonight's top 3 and see what they have to say from this Michigan 250. And welcome everyone to the Martin Sports Post Race Show. We got our top three gathered up, and we're going to get their final thoughts on tonight's race here. First and foremost, that guy in the number 19 Advanced Auto Parts Ford Mustang, Mr. Richie Coy.
What's up?
Man, what's up, man?
I'm tired. I'm getting a little hydrated because that was a tough race, man. What a crazy race that was.
Yeah, the field is really spaced out, except for you top four, which are just neck and neck for the good chunk of this race. Walk us through how that racing was, other than your dehydration there, and man, just walk us through that time where you got off turn two and just barely nicked that wall to lose the race lead.
Wow. The racing was fantastic. The guys, Jamie, Wayne, Jeff. I mean, we were racing door to door, side by side I think the whole race. I mean, it was freaking awesome. Really, really good. And then all of a sudden, I just got tight and the car shot up to the wall. I don't even know. I was trying to run my same line. And all of a sudden, I don't know if I picked up a crosswind from the lap car in front of me, but it went up, just tacked the wall. And I think it hurt the right front a little bit. And, and then I could never regain those two, back to those two. But man, what a battle. I'm just so tickled. I just told them, I said, I almost don't mind running third racing like that than winning by, a half a track. So what a race.
Yeah, Richie, man, congratulations on your third place run tonight. And obviously, you talk about with Jeremy the issue there coming off turn number two. You said you got a little tight. You said you don't know if you got kind of like a little bit of a wind. You talk about dirty air off the corner. And the only reason I asked this is because, forcing you into a mistake, I said with Jeff Chandler, is it may be the reason why you got off the corner so tight, because those three guys were just constantly on your butt all night long. I mean, nobody could get away, even the leader, even with the clean air, despite everything and clean air being so king here. Do you think that really just because of the pressure from on back that ultimately led to you hitting the wall off too, possibly?
I can't say it didn't. I mean, it was a heck of a battle, man. We were all pushing as hard as we could. I mean, I know you're going to talk to Jeff and Jamie. They're going to say the same thing. We were racing hard. We were racing hard for that win. And you're right, because we couldn't get away from everybody. I mean, when I got out in clean air, the car was fantastic, but they kept drafting back up to me again, and I couldn't break the draft. So the four of us just ran as hard as we could. And, it just every once in a while, I guess if I didn't make a mistake or whatever happened there, it happens. And we'll go home P3 with a fantastic race under our belt.
Yeah, that was a brilliant race for us to watch too. We hardly left the camera from you guys. It was just such a phenomenal four-car battle there. And, one more solid race like this, and this is going to lock you up for the 2023 B as well. So just one race closer, man. So wish you the best luck the rest of the season. But
there's something you guys don't know. I'm leaving for vacation on Wednesday.
Oh, on Wednesday. Okay. So you're on Monday too then?
Yeah, I'm missing Wednesday, Monday, and the second Wednesday. So I'll be doing provisionals for those three races.
Okay. All right. So that's going to close in that battle a little bit. So you better get your stuff together for the final two. But yeah, it's well deserved, man. So with that being said, yeah, have a good, solid vacation for sure. But give us your final thoughts before we let you go this evening.
Well, shout out to Wayne. Wayne put up a great fight. He ended up, I think, fourth tonight. So shout out to him. He had a great car, good race. Shout out to Jamie. Also another great race. And the Jeff, man. I can't wait to go back and watch it. It was a lot of fun, a lot of clean racing. I don't think the entire time, I don't think we touched at all. So it was really great. Thank you to my team, Fury Motorsports, Michael, Tony, Brody. Michael chose the setup that I ran tonight, and Brody and Tony went on a little bit different setup. And I think they wanted to be on my setup at the end there. So, Brody's first race back, so he's a little rusty yet, so he'll get back in the swing of things. Shout out to mom and dad, Tony's mom and dad. Shout out to Scott Martin, who I see in the chat here, but he looks like he's muted and headphoned. So shout out to Scott Martin for sponsoring me. Shout out to the league, and shout out to the nerds.
Yes, sir, man. And congratulations once again on that P3. Awesome job. And yeah, not a single car contact for you guys in the top four. So just excellent job whatsoever. And I guess we'll catch you in a week and a half on that Wednesday.
Yes, sir.
Or that following Monday, rather.
Yeah,
2
Monday.
weeks.
Yep. 2 weeks.
All right,
Hey.
man. Take care.
I'll be.
Yep. I think I cut him off a little early there. I apologize. I thought we were done there. They gave me that second separation. I said yeet, and he's gone. So, with that being said, though, I'm
Sorry,
gonna put
he
my
gets the
head.
hydrate earlier.
Yeah, he's on the camera. He's probably like, what? But I'm gonna bring in this number 84 of Jamie, not part of the Pink Magic Tire Prep Chevrolet Camaro. Jamie, well done on second place.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, man, that four-car battle was just something else. We loved watching it. I don't think we hardly moved that camera from you guys. It was just such an intense racing, very clean, not a single car contact, as Richie had stated a moment ago. And your car, on the long run, I thought at one point you were done as those three separated, and then somehow you gathered up over 2 seconds, got back to them. How is your car doing? Was it built to be the long run, or did it just work out that way for you?
I think it just worked out that way. It was pretty fast, from lap one, and I kind of just saved my tires just a little that first run. And then I got up to second on about lap 19, I think, and then the caution come out and everybody pitted but me. And I was, oh man, because I figured nobody would pit before the stage just to save that extra set of tires. And then, so I fell way back, and then there was like 5 or 6 of them battling in front of me, holding me up after they done burnt their tires up, and I still had, 20 lap older tires. So I had to drive it real hard to catch back up, and I was about a second, 1.2 back, and then the 19 and 31 started battling for the lead then after they got Wayne out of the lead, and then I was able to catch back up, and then in the draft I was good to go then, and then they started pitting, and Richie went to pit, and I just pitted with him so I'd have some drafting help in case I messed up on pit road. I'd at least hopefully wouldn't lose too much ground besides going another whole lap around by myself. And then I got the lead right there toward the end, and it was just too loose up off of 2, driving in with clean air. So Richie got back by me, and then I was just going to push him some, and then I seen Jeff coming again, so I said, oh man, I better try to get the lead back. And then I drove into 3 and 4 down there on the bottom, and I quite didn't get to the apron, and I got loose. So that's when I lost second spot to Jeff, and then I was able to get back by Richie when Jeff did. I think he got up into the wall, or almost got the wall off of 2 and slowed him up. But I didn't really have nothing for Jeff there at the very end.
Yeah, and congratulations, Jamie. It's not 2 in a row, but hey, it's a 1-2 finish from last week into this week, so you got to be at least proud of that. But do you think that really the reason why you didn't catch Richie was just because of how key clean air was? And then also, a little side question too, also because of Richie. I think I said you could not catch Richie. You couldn't catch Jeff because of clean air, and then Richie also battled you a little bit there towards the end of the race. Do you think that's really the reason why you couldn't exactly catch Jeff towards the end?
Yeah, I think if Richie would have got behind me and pushed me down the front stretch instead of staying on the side of me, I think I'd at least been right there, but I don't know if I could have made the pass. Richie could drive real deep into 1 and 2 and run the real low lane, about like Truex did earlier today. And
Yep.
I could do it in 3 and 4, but I couldn't do it in 1 and 2. I would just get too loose. But it was just a great race, and I'm happy for Jeff because he's had bad luck for the last month. I think he ain't finished the race or without getting wrecked or his internet messing up, or having bad luck. So I was glad to see him win also, and we just had a heck of a battle up there. It was exciting. I'd like to ram 50 more laps.
Yeah, we would like to watch 50 laps too between you four for sure. And that turn 3 and 4 actually that worked one time for you. Did pass Richie momentarily for the lead, and I thought, oh man, there's some extra grip down there. And then after that, yeah, you just could not hold it every single time you tried it. So it was on the verge of working out great for you. But nevertheless, man, awesome job on P2. That's great. 1 and 2 finishes for the past 2 weeks now. Hopefully you can keep that momentum rolling. But the floor is yours. Any final thoughts before we let you go?
Yeah, like think Pink Magic Tire Prep, EPI setups, and that's about it. And you guys for broadcasting.
I appreciate you, man. And go ahead and have a good rest of your night. And we will catch you next week.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir. That's number 84 of Jamie Knopp. Announced timeout to bring in the number 31 of Jeff Chandler. the Bruzy Raceware Chevrolet Camaro, Mr. Jeff Chandler. Welcome to Victory Lane.
Thank you much. How y'all doing?
Man, we're doing great up here. That top four battle was something else there. Very clean, hard fought. And I think the fastest car won tonight overall. A little bit of a mishap by the 19 to give it to you, but overall, I think you led the most laps if I was counting correctly. And man, how was your car running as far as behind someone versus in front? Because it seemed like you weren't really affected like some others were.
It was a huge difference. It was like I was talking to Richie, and you can feel when you lose that front end, when you lose that downforce on the front end, your steering wheel gets light. I have a direct drive AccuForce, and you can just feel it's like it doesn't have grip, like your steering isn't as stiff. So it's just got no downforce on the front. It's hard to turn, so you're backing off the throttle a little bit. And I didn't ever use any brake. Because I just can't stand to use brake because it just slows you down too much. And so I just started backing it up a little bit. But I mean, you couldn't have asked for a better last few laps, the last 25 laps battling with those guys. It was just epic.
Yeah, and it definitely obviously reminded us, I said to Jeremy too, Jeff, that it reminded us a lot of the Cup race ending today between Chris Buescher and Truex, but ended up being 4 cars here tonight instead of 2. But with that being said, man, last week you had a really, probably in my opinion, all season long, your toughest loss of the season. You led over 200 laps out of 250. You got loose. You got some contact in the rear end, spun yourself out last weekend with some help. How does it feel to just come through with this one, knowing that you were so dominant, stayed back behind the 3 guys, were able to make your passes quick and clean, and ultimately win this thing, man, because this is a huge comeback for you, despite what happened last week.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've beat myself up. Even the week before that, Pocono, when we had a power flicker here with 12 laps to go or something like that, and I lost power to my monitor, so I couldn't see anything. So I led 85 of the 100 laps there, couldn't get it done. Then Richmond, I was so mad at myself because I made the change on the pit stop to what I would think would help it get through the corner a little better, and it was just tight. It was tighter than I expected, and I just moved up the track and got in Daniel's way, and he had nowhere to go but hit me in the rear, and it was totally my fault. I've apologized to him, and it's just that to come back this week and have such a good car and race with such quality racers, man. I can't tell you how much fun it is to run in this league. These guys are just really good racers.
Yeah, definitely for sure. I love watching just as much as you probably love running the races here. And yeah, it's good to mention that you're able to come back from those past couple of bad weeks. And hopefully that's out of the way. Hopefully we see you up front now continuously, because that car is fast each week that we see you. So I have no doubts there. But floor is yours, man. Final thoughts before we let you go this evening.
Well, I definitely want to thank Brooks and Will and the guys at Hyperforce Esports. I can't thank them enough for, they don't get anything out of the running leagues, me running leagues and stuff, but they support me and they help me and they put me in good pieces every week. Don Wheaton Chevrolet, Judd Daniel, Senator Bruzy and Racer Apparel, Doyle Lawrence, Raven Graphics. He watches every one of the races I'm in and he roots for me, and I just couldn't have a better friend, and he's the best painter out there. Kenny and the guys at Team Watson, partnering up with them has just been really, it's been an eye-opener for both teams. So, of course, the guy at Nerditude, Jeremy, Jason, Dustin, you guys, man, we appreciate the hell out of you guys. Brody and Richie and the guys at FTSR and Mach-1 Performance, really appreciate them sponsoring this fantastic league.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Appreciate all the kind words for sure. And congratulations once again, bringing home to Victory Lane for the 10th race of the 2023B. Good luck for the final 3 races of the season.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Yeah, you're very welcome. And was the 31 there of Jeff Chandler, driver of the Bruzy Raceware Chevrolet Camaro. And what a race, guys.
Yeah, man, I want to say that was, I wouldn't say as racy as the Wednesday night race, but with that being said, the top four tonight were in their own zip code. I mean, over 6 seconds pulled from fifth practically all night long. Once that last caution happened, and then we transitioned into that long green flag run, I mean, they were just lights out. I mean, Grassi, Knopf, Chandler, Coy, they flew, man. They were just like a fighter jet against the little baby airplane, which was the rest of the field. That was what it was like tonight. I mean, that's the best analogy that I could put it, man. I mean, what a race, though. I mean, Michigan these last few years with the next-gen car, the trucks, the Xfinity cars, this has been a track that I used to really dread. And then ever since the rules packages have changed between the trucks, which I don't think no longer go there, unfortunately, anymore, but the Xfinity cars, they always put on one hell of a show. And then these Cup cars, the last 2 years, the races have been extremely fuel-dependent, strategy, and we saw that kind of here tonight, but what do you know? It ended up being the same four guys we saw once it was all cycled through. And somehow, some way, Jeff Chandler was able to, persevere over his issues last week and ultimately lead to tonight. And now he's got 3 races left. Richie Coy will not be here next Monday. So that's another opportunity to gain points on him. Like I said, theoretically, I don't really think he's going to be there. I'm not the biggest math guy, but, Richie Coy could have a few bad races. Jeff Chandler could go out and win the next 2, and he could be right there for the Season B title, but we'll have to see. But this race was very fun to call tonight for sure.
Yeah, it's not locked up for sure. There's just under a 90-point separation between the guys, and he's going to take POV. So if Jeff Chandler wins next week, it's going to put him, 60, 55, somewhere in that range. But, how Richie runs, I don't see that being an issue for him. I think he's going to just take it, no problem. But technically, by math standards, he's not locked in, so we can't call it his for sure just yet. And I just checked, Jeff Chandler did lead the most laps, got the extra bonus point for that. 55 out of the 125. Richie Coy came in second at 46 laps led. Dustin, what's your take for tonight?
Wow, what a race. I mean, there was good racing all the way around the track. And, the camera there towards the last 30 laps, 35 laps, was focused on the top 4. The racing that they were putting on, they were putting on a show. But there was good racing all the way around the track, and that's what this track does. It produces amazing racing. But this was definitely a testament on a number of levels. One, Jeff Chandler kind of overcoming that, getting that monkey off his back with, the string of bad luck that's been going on. Super happy to see him finally get that monkey off his back and, kick it down the road a little bit. And hopefully, he can stay here and give a good run for the rest of the season. Because, he's got the talent. He can do it. He's got the speed.
Oh, he's fast.
Oh, yeah.
So fast.
And on that note, it was also a testament to show that these drivers, they don't just sit back and just ride for, 120 laps and then, or 100 laps and then go for the last 25. These guys were going nonstop from the time they dropped the green flag. And it also goes to show that they could sit here and go nonstop and race hard like that without any type of craziness, tactics, just hard side-by-side racing. You heard it from Richie. He doesn't even think that they even touched that entire time they were racing side-by-side. That just goes to show what this league can do.
Yeah, no, there was absolutely no contact between the 4. That's crazy, and that's what we're accustomed to seeing here at Full Throttle Sim Racing. So maybe we'll get some more action like that next week. Who knows? But Michigan always, or at least as of recently, like Jason said, has just brought out so much more racing, and it's just been so exciting to watch Michigan. I used to dread it too as well. So I hear you, Jason, on that. But we're gonna close this thing down. I'm gonna thank our partners one last time. You got them on the right-hand side of your screen. First and foremost, the league, of course, FTSR.net. Get signed up and join this amazing racing that you're watching us broadcast 2 nights a week, Mondays and Wednesdays. Mach-1 Performance race fabrication shop that's produced champions across multiple different divisions of dirt and pavement oval racing. Find them at facebook.com/Mach-1 Performance. Sim Racing Points, your league points management system above all. It allows you to completely track your league stats, points, and everything else that you really need to display. You find them at simracingpoints.com. Martin Sports, top quality apparel to make you look stylish and feel comfortable. Find everything they have to offer you at martinsports.gg. iRacing iFlag, get your notifications just a fraction of a second faster without ever leaving the focus from the racing action, and you're going to find them at iRacingIFlag.com. butt kicker. Get the ultimate feel from the race car with the haptic response system from the butt kicker. You're going to find them at thebuttkicker.com. Team Watson Racing Setups, quality professional built setups for your asphalt oval needs. Find them at
You
Team
heard
Watson. Yeah, yeah. He runs them on the car. Richie Coy runs them. So, those guys, two of them in top three consecutively, throughout the entire season. So, shout them out once more. TeamWatsonRacing.com. Check them out for pricing and packages. And lastly, Roasted Gems Coffee. Premium coffee beans roasted just for you. Start your day the right way. Coffee from Roasted Gems. That's going to do it for us tonight. So we're going to catch you tomorrow with RSR Next Gen Cup Series Racing. And then we're back here on Wednesday for the FTSR Martin Sports Truck Series. But until then, you guys stay safe and to always get your nerd on.